Here we are for the 12th video of the Are You Gaming Round Robin Placement Torment. The scores now stand at IC and Dewey tied for first place with 4 points each, and this game should help us break the three-way tie for third. In this game we have Croc returning after quite an absence in terms of video time. I don't think I've seen him since one of the first 3 or 4 games. And his opponent here, Nota, in the Protoss at the bottom right. Oh look, gull hoofs across the board. I don't think we've seen that yet. Maybe I'm not paying attention. So what do we have here? This is one of those maps where it's pretty easy to take and keep an expansion. This ramp is on the large side, but it's not too large. So a proactive Terran could probably drop his first depot and racks and just 2 depot to finish off the rest of the ramp. Granted, that's not really an opening you want to give to a Zerg. And of course, Nota's Protoss. But Protoss has a lot more tools for early defense against Ling Rush, other than a wall. Croc coming up with a spawning pool and 2 unused geysers. Oh, there's one. Nota with the scout probe noticing the early pool, and I would hope the empty geysers. I really don't understand this whole get geysers really soon so that I have them when I want them instead of building them when I want them thing. What's Nota got here at home? Nota's got his geyser filled, I might add. And he's dropping a cyber core? I might have expected another pylon or another gateway to finish a wall off here at the front because of this early pool and lack of expansion. Nota continues to kind of harass and scout with his probe. Croc's banking up a lot of minerals here, does not have a queen underway, not using his larva, not advancing his tech, not filling his geysers. He's finally queued up some Zerglings. But he's still got a lot of stuff that he could be spending. Nota's scout probe is getting whittled away by this drone. There are some Lings. Even more Lings in production from Croc and a Spore Crawler? Spore Crawler? Spore Crawler before Queen? Oh, finally a scout. Drone scout slips by the Zealot, because that is not a full wall off. And the probe scout, or the drone scout, gets quickly eliminated by probes, but not before spotting 3 gateways, which I'm betting Croc did not manage to have time to click on and actually see what they were. So he just sees 3 buildings, in all probability. Croc is back here at home with one very strangely placed Spore Crawler. That's got a range of, approximately this. So he's leaving half of his economy completely undefended, including the geyser, which he is now in fact using. Now grabbing Roach Warren, which isn't a terrible thing in response to a whole bunch of gateways. But he really needs that second base, especially with 800 minerals in the bank. He must expand if he's going to stay in this game. A 1-basing Protoss will beat a 1-basing Zerg every time unless there's some kind of cheese involved. Croc now advancing to Lair, still with 1 geyser, really dropping down the additional spores. Nota's famous for doing Oracle harassment, but this is not really going to defend, because you've got this 1 Spore Crawler up here covering approximately this area, and this Spore Crawler here covering approximately this area. There's still this whole area for a Oracle to freely kill these 2 mineral patches and just sit there and hold position while roasting drones. He's otherwise very well covered from air harassment, but he's got No units to speak of. I stand corrected. Oh, he's completely bypassed his natural and gone straight for the third base, which Nota immediately scouts. So any kind of advantage Croc might have from getting a hidden expansion is just straight up gone. Nota now expanding, having spotted Croc's expansion. And a Dark Shrine. I'm going to pull a line from day 9 here, when behind Dark Shrine, except Nota is way ahead. Getting charge for his Zealots, which he's got a pretty decent muster of. And picking up double Forge for double gateway upgrades. Nota should core for early defense, or for home defense, and some additional pylons for more planetary pylons. Looks like Nota wants to go aggressive right here soon, which would be a good choice considering Croc has next to nothing for defense. Evolution Chamber and Hydralisk Den from Croc. He's teching up plenty, and he's finally filled a second geyser. But he just doesn't have the production capacity he needs to compete just yet. Nota's next is finishing. Double upgrades churning. Dark Shrine finished. And Dark Templar warping in. Nota doesn't really have the gas income that he needs to sustain production on this Dark Shrine. What the? Oh, thank goodness. I've been operating on the impression that Dark Templar start with what is effectively Blink, but I now learn otherwise. Can you tell I'm a Terran player? I pay no attention to the other races. Nota moving his forces out forward to better guard his natural and that's an interesting decision. Merges 2 Dark Templar into an Archon blindly without even checking to see that the opponent has detection. Which I might add, he does not short these 3 Spore Crawlers. This space is wide open to DT harassment. I am pleased to see that Nota is sending forth 1 DT. Well, he apparently uses his other DTs to work up the Zealot Archon. In a rather terrible display, Nota actually has a worker advantage on Croc. Worker advantage being something that typically falls on the Zerg side. Once again, getting a 4th geyser before the 3rd is even full. What are you doing? Any new tech structures for Croc? No, just pretty much the same ones we saw before. He's got 2 evolution chambers, but hasn't started any upgrades. He's got now a relatively tiny Roach Hydra force compared to what I would expect to see at the 7.5 minute mark, leading with some speedlings. If he trickles in his army like this at full speed, he's just going to get shredded as he arrives. Especially with these Zealots having charge. They're just... Ooh, Nota momentarily pulling back. Croc is microing his Zerglings to bring them back to the bulk of his army. Now 1-1 Zealots against 0-0 Roach Hydra Ling. The Zealots are just going to chew right through all these roaches, much to what I was once surprised by, but now that I realize they've got the double upgrades, that kind of explains the advantage. Croc, leaving his overseers here to get tickled by the 1 sentry, will get tickled into scouting the into scouting the 3rd. Croc going home with his remaining armies, not filling his geyser that he got, what, a minute ago? Over a minute ago. Still no tech structures. Just getting more Roach Hydra in relatively small amounts. Check the production tab, more drones, roaches. He is finally getting an upgrade underway. But it's going to be too little too late, because Nota's moving out now with Zealot Archon and even a couple of Stalkers here for anti-air. Nota's army is just going to shred through anything that it comes across at this particular point in time. Oh look! A drone made it into the geyser. And Croc is producing yet another Overseer and bringing his other two home. Croc moving up the right-hand side of the map. Looks like he's going to jump to the right and check for expansions. No, looks like he's going to completely bypass even checking for one here. Reuniting with his DT. I think that's mostly a case of F2 syndrome right there. And he's actually allowing Croc to bulk up his army quite a bit. Not enough, but quite a bit. Nota really taking the roundabout path here. Hasn't really seen anything since his initial probe scouts. Nota now coming down off the high ground will engage this force right here. Pretty favorable positioning for Croc, but just not enough stuff to deal with the splash damage of these Archons and all the meat shielding of the Zealots. Some more reinforcements coming in from the upper right, but Nota withdrawing instead of holding the engagement, which he clearly could have won. He will lose this Archon now. Continues to press with the one Archon and Stalkers. We should be able to clean up this space before any real reinforcements come in, which will include this macro hatch, which will never get up and running. Back at home, Nota is defending his base with Dark Templar at each expansion. And oh dear. Oh dear. 3-gate Void Ray to back up his transition out of his ground army. I'm not sure I entirely approve of that, but it seems like overkill, and all he really needs to do is flood in more units and walk over him. Nope. There's my alarm to do something which I will have to do after this task. Some reinforcements coming in from Croc, target firing the Archon, which will now go down. Now it might be a good time for Nota to withdraw. These Hydras will quickly clean up these Stalkers. Stalkers will reinforce, but not enough. Dark Templar now rolling out. Did the Overseers get killed? The Overseers did get killed during the fighting, so these DTs could be quite an issue. More Zerglings and Roaches coming out from Croc, which will be a very poor counter to the Void Rays that are soon popping out from Nota. Looks like Croc has a natural expansion here, but isn't rallying drones produced from here to the mineral line. That could be an annoying issue for him to run into. And things have started to pretty much stagnate, with Nota not really feeling like he has enough to move out, which, with so little on the ground, I would tend to agree when faced with a Zerg snowball like this. Backs off just a moment to pick up the rest of his Void Rays for support, and he moves into the what should be the third once again. He's going to lose this Void Ray to the Hydras, but everything else will clean up pretty quick. Stand corrected. The Zerg army finishes off the Protoss ground for the most part, unless these are new. Just leaving the DTs and the Void Rays, which are both very problematic things to have to deal with. GG should be coming out any moment now, as 3 more Void Rays join the fray. 2 Roaches decide to come around and maybe reinforce the main, but I don't think they're going to get there in time to do anything at all. Even die. There's the GG. And indeed, they don't even have time to die. Take a look at this wonderful beam. That's some nice artness right here. Love the little blue tendrils. You don't often get a chance to really look at the graphics of this game when the game's underway. Some very, very prettiness here. You should come out with a void ray lamp or a void ray chandelier. That could be entertaining. In any event, this has been the 12th game in the RU Gaming Round Robin Placement Torment. Damn it, I forgot Zulu. And this breaks our three-way tie, putting Nota into third place with 2 points. Dash and Mr. Zach still tied for third, and Croc remains in dead last. Which, again, a little surprised because he's the one that plays the game the least out of all of us by a wide margin. He really only participated in this thing for the sake of making it happen in the first place. You have Croc to thank for this ridiculous and terrible tormenting series. Join us join us in the next video for the 13th game in the series, which I have no information on whatsoever at this point. Hoi. The spectacle will continue.